Train your mind to attract unlimited wealth. Napoleon Hill, Wisdom That Works. They never taught you this in school, but Napoleon Hill did. What if I told you that wealth doesn't start in your wallet, it starts in your mind? That your thoughts, your beliefs, even the words you speak daily could be the very thing keeping you broke or making you rich beyond belief. In this video, you're going to discover the exact step-by-step mental programming system used by millionaires, entrepreneurs, and visionaries to train their minds to attract unlimited wealth. Stay until the end because one concept alone could change your financial destiny forever. Part 1, the psychology of wealth. Why the rich think differently. Wealth isn't simply a number in your bank account. It begins as a mindset, an inner paradigm that governs how you view opportunity, risk, self-worth, and success. According to Napoleon Hill, author of Think and Grow Rich, the foundation of all wealth lies in the way you think. Before any dollar is earned, before any business is built, before any goal is achieved, there is thought, and how you think determines what you attract. 1. The rich don't just make money, they attract it. Let's start with a bold but true idea. Wealthy people don't chase money, they attract it. That's not mysticism, it's psychology. Napoleon Hill explains that wealth begins with what he calls a definiteness of purpose, a clear, unshakable vision of what you want, and the belief that you are meant to achieve it. This is why two people with the same education, same job, and same background can end up in completely different financial situations. One merely works for money. The other magnetizes it through belief, purpose, and action aligned with that purpose. Success comes to those who become success conscious. Napoleon Hill. What does it mean to be success conscious? It means your internal dialogue, your expectations, and your focus are constantly tuned toward growth, abundance, impossibility, not lack, fear or scarcity. 2. The poverty mindset versus the wealth mindset. Let's contrast two mindsets, poverty and wealth. A poverty mindset says, I can't afford that. Making money is hard. Rich people are greedy. There's never enough. A wealth mindset says, how can I afford that? Making money is a skill I can learn. Success inspires me. There's more than enough for everyone. One sees limitation, the other sees possibility. These beliefs shape behavior. If you believe money is evil, you'll unconsciously sabotage your own financial success. If you believe wealth is an extension of value creation, you'll seek ways to serve and grow. Hill believed that thoughts are not just mental events, they're energetic forces. And just like a magnet, your dominant thoughts either repel or attract the circumstances of your life. 3. Belief is the starting point of riches. Hill writes that all riches begin with a state of mind, with definiteness of purpose, with little or no hard work. That's a radical idea, especially in a culture obsessed with hustle. But Hill's point isn't to dismiss action, it's to show that action without belief is like sailing without wind. Belief is the psychological fuel behind every great fortune. Think about Elon Musk, Oprah Winfrey, or Steve Jobs. All of them believed in something long before anyone else did. They were rich in vision long before they were rich in dollars. Hill emphasizes the importance of faith, not just religious faith, but faith in your ability to achieve your desire. Without this self-faith, no plan works. With it, even a small idea can become a global empire. 4. Your mind is a broadcasting system. This is where Hill's thinking gets truly profound. He explains that your mind is like a broadcasting station that sends out vibrations of thought. When you repeatedly think about success, wealth, and possibility, you're broadcasting those vibrations into the world. And just like a radio signal, they will connect with matching vibrations, people, opportunities, and ideas that resonate with your thoughts. Hill called this the law of attraction before it was mainstream. He believed your dominant thoughts attract circumstances that match them. So if you constantly dwell on debt, fear, and insecurity, guess what? You're attracting more of that. But if you saturate your mind with wealth-building thoughts, solutions, and gratitude, you start tuning into opportunities that were always there but invisible to your old mindset. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Napoleon Hill. That's not just a quote, it's a blueprint. 5. The power of repetition and mental training. Training your mind is not a one-time event. It's not enough to think about wealth once and expect miracles. Hill stresses the importance of repetition, of embedding wealth thinking so deeply that it becomes second nature. That means repeating affirmations of abundance daily, visualizing your success vividly every morning, surrounding yourself with wealthy ideas, books, mentors, replacing negative self-talk with powerful inner language. This is mental training. Just like the body needs reps at the gym, the mind needs mental reps of positive, wealth-centered thoughts. The goal is to shift your dominant emotional state from fear or lack to confidence, faith, and vision. Your emotional tone determines your frequency, and your frequency determines your results. 6. How environment shapes wealth thinking. Hill also warned about the influence of your environment if you surround yourself with negativity, doubt, and poverty thinking. It will contaminate your mind. This includes friends who always talk about being broke, news cycles that sell fear and recession, social media content that glorifies struggle. Instead, you must protect your mental space like a billionaire protects their assets. Fill your environment with books that stimulate abundance thinking, people who stretch your financial standards, conversations that spark ideas and growth. You are the average of the dominant influences in your life, and that includes thoughts, people, and messages. 7. The subconscious mind doesn't judge, it obeys. Here's where it gets deep. Hill explains that your subconscious mind is like fertile soil. It will grow whatever seed you plant, whether it's a rose or a weed. It doesn't judge, it doesn't reject. It accepts whatever you impress upon it, especially thoughts repeated with emotion. So if you keep telling yourself, I'm bad with money, I'll never make 6 figures, I'm just trying to get by, you're planting weeds, and your subconscious mind will grow a life that reflects them. But if you plant, I attract wealth effortlessly, I am aligned with abundance, money flows to me in expected and unexpected ways, and you do so with emotion, belief, and repetition, your subconscious begins to act like a wealth-building machine. 8. Why most people never rewire their wealth mindset. Most people fail to build wealth not because they lack skill or effort, but because they never rewire their internal beliefs. They cling to the same self-image year after year. They treat their income as a ceiling, not a stepping stone. They think thoughts like, this is just the way it is. People like me don't get rich. I'd rather be happy than rich, as if they're mutually exclusive. Napoleon Hill challenged these ideas. He believed wealth and joy can coexist, that becoming rich is not about greed, but self-mastery and value creation. But to get there, you must train your mind like a warrior trains for battle. Because the battlefield is not out there. It's inside your head. Part 2, Burning Desire, the first law of attraction. The first and most essential principle of wealth creation, according to Napoleon Hill, is burning desire. It's not hope. It's not wishing. It's not daydreaming. It's a white-hot, all-consuming fire inside your mind and soul that refuses to die no matter the obstacles, the rejections, or the failures. Hill wrote in Think and Grow Rich that desire is the starting point of all achievement. Without it, you won't act. Without it, you won't persist. Without it, you won't attract. The power of a definite chief aim. Napoleon Hill spent over 20 years interviewing the most successful people of his time, Andrew Carnegie, Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, and more. He discovered they all had one thing in common, a clearly defined goal backed by burning desire. He called this a definite chief aim, a single, specific financial or life goal that becomes the focus of your entire being. It is not vague like I want to be rich. It is definite, I will earn 1 million within the next 5 years through real estate investing. The mind cannot act on ambiguity. It needs clarity. A definite aim gives the mind a target, a direction, and a purpose. Once your subconscious accepts that target as real and desirable, It goes to work organizing your thoughts, behaviors, and opportunities to move toward it. Desire without direction is scattered, but desire backed by a specific aim becomes a laser. 2. Why most people don't burn with desire. The sad truth is that most people don't burn with desire, they simmer with lukewarm intentions. They say they want success, but they don't want it badly enough to change. They say they want wealth, but they aren't willing to sacrifice comfort for discipline. Here's what weak desire looks like. Saying I'd like to make more money someday. Thinking it would be nice if things got better. Talking about goals but never writing them down. Burning desire doesn't talk, it obsesses. It writes the goal down every day. It visualizes the result like it's already done. It finds ways instead of excuses. It keeps going even when everything looks like failure. Burning desire makes success non-negotiable. 3. Emotionalized desire creates inner certainty. Desire by itself isn't enough. Hill taught that desire must be emotionalized. It must be felt deeply, viscerally, in your body and emotions. You must feel the urgency, the hunger, the absolute must of achieving your goal. Without this emotional fuel, desire fades. Think of the difference between casually wanting a snack and desperately craving water after 3 days in the desert. That's the level of intensity Hill meant. Emotionalized desire creates what Hill called inner certainty, a state of conviction so strong that doubt can't survive. When you feel something with enough intensity and repetition, your subconscious accepts it as reality and begins reshaping your external world to match. That's why affirmations, visualization, and emotion must go together. Saying I want to be wealthy without feeling it is like shouting into the void. But when you say it with full emotional conviction, your brain takes it as instruction. Or the link between desire and the subconscious. Desire is the bridge to your subconscious mind. The subconscious does not respond to logic. It doesn't care about spreadsheets or probabilities. It responds to repetition, emotion, and vivid imagery. Hill taught that the subconscious is the gateway to infinite intelligence, a universal force that responds to the dominating desires of your mind. When you emotionalize a desire with clarity and certainty, the subconscious broadcasts that signal out into the world, drawing back ideas, people, and circumstances that align with it. That's not magic. It's how your reticular activating system in your brain filters information. When you desire something intensely, your mind starts spotting opportunities it would have otherwise ignored. Desire sharpens perception, it expands awareness, and it opens up possibilities that your old self couldn't see. 5. How to build a burning desire. Hill's 6-step formula. Napoleon Hill gave a 6-step method for transforming vague desire into burning. Definite obsession. Let's break it down. Step 1. Fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. Don't say more money. Be exact. 500,000, $10 million, $150,000 per year. The subconscious responds to specifics. Step 2. Determine what you will give in return. Wealth doesn't come from wishing, it comes from giving value. What service, skill, product, or sacrifice are you willing to exchange for that wealth? Step 3. Establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money. Deadlines create urgency. A goal without a date is just a dream. Step 4. Create a definite plan and begin at once. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to start. Action ignites belief. Step 5. Write out a clear, concise statement of your goal. This becomes your personal wealth mission statement. Step 6. Read your statement aloud twice daily, once in the morning and once at night. Visualize the outcome. Feel the joy. Let it become real in your imagination. This is how you plant desire in the subconscious. Through words, through repetition, through emotion, and through daily immersion. 6. Case study Desire in Action. Henry Ford. Henry Ford wasn't the smartest man in the room, but what he had was unstoppable desire. When he said he would build a car for the average American, engineers told him it was impossible. They said it couldn't be done. They quit. He hired new ones. When he demanded the V8 engine, They said the technology didn't exist for it, said, do it anyway. That's burning desire. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't negotiate with limitation. It doesn't wait for conditions to be perfect. It commands reality to bend and then backs it up with relentless energy. Desire is not passive, it's aggressive, it moves, it creates momentum, it refuses to stop. 7. Why desire has to come from within. You can't borrow desire from someone else. You can't fake it. You can't rely on external motivation to sustain it. True burning desire comes from within and only from within. That's why envy doesn't work. You can look at someone else's lifestyle and say, I want that, but unless the desire is personal, tied to your vision, your values, your unique calling, it will fade. Hill believed each person has a unique gift and mission. When you align your desire with that mission, you unlock a level of motivation that external pressure could never create. It's not about proving others wrong, it's about proving yourself right. 8. Desire must survive temporary defeat. Here's where most people give up. They set a goal, get excited, take a few steps and then fail. Something blocks them. They hear no. They lose money. They get rejected. So they quit? But Hill emphasizes that temporary defeat is not permanent failure. It's a test, a filter, a rite of passage. Most millionaires failed multiple times before their breakthrough. What kept them going wasn't luck, it was burning desire. Desire that won't take no for an answer. Desire that uses failure as fuel. Desire that says, I don't care how long it takes, I'm getting there. This isn't motivational fluff, it's mental conditioning. If your desire can't survive rejection, you never really wanted it. 9. Desire needs daily reinforcement. You can't just light the fire once and hope it stays alive. Burning desire is like a furnace, it needs daily fuel. That means reading your goal statement out loud every day, visualizing success every morning and night, reminding yourself why this goal matters, surrounding yourself with visual cues of your future life, feeding your mind with stories of people who achieved the impossible. You become what you focus on. If you keep your desire front and center, it becomes a psychological force field that shields you from doubt and distraction. Hill even suggested creating a desire board before the modern vision board existed. It's a visual representation of your burning desire that your subconscious can internalize. 10. Desire plus belief equals unstoppable. Desire alone is not enough. Belief alone is not enough. But when you combine the two, you create a psychological superpower. Desire drives action, belief sustains it. Desire without belief leads to burnout. Belief without desire leads to complacency. But together they create what Hill called faith-driven action. When your desire burns strong and your belief stays unshakable, you enter a flow state. You no longer need willpower. You become the person who naturally attracts and achieves your financial vision. You no longer just want to be rich. You expect to be rich. You act like it's inevitable. And that changes everything. Part 3. Faith, the invisible power that commands wealth. Faith is more than belief, it is psychological certainty. According to Napoleon Hill, faith is the cornerstone of all riches. Without it, desire has no energy. Without it, action has no confidence. Faith is the internal force that turns thought into fact, potential into performance, and dreams into dollar signs. Faith is not religious dogma. It's the unshakable conviction that what you desire is already possible and already on its way. 1. Faith is a state of mind that can be induced by repetition. Hill boldly stated that faith is a state of mind that may be created or strengthened through autosuggestion. It's not something you're born with, it's something you build. This means anyone, regardless of background or experience, can cultivate faith. Faith isn't magic, it's psychological programming. And the main tool to program faith into your subconscious is repetition. When you repeat a belief, especially when it's loaded with emotion, your subconscious eventually accepts it as fact. It works the same way fear works. If you keep telling yourself, I always fail, your subconscious turns that belief into a default response. But if you start saying, I always figure it out, Wealth flows to me, and you mean it. Your subconscious will adopt that narrative instead. The key isn't just repetition, it's emotional repetition. Beliefs reinforced with feeling have deeper impact than logical affirmations. 2. Autosuggestion as the bridge to faith. Hill introduced the concept of autosuggestion as a vehicle that carries your desires, beliefs, and affirmations into your subconscious. If your desire is the fire and your goal is the destination, autosuggestion is the vehicle, and faith is the fuel. Here's how the cycle works. Repetition of desire, vivid imagery plus positive emotion is belief. Repeated belief becomes faith. Faith becomes internal command. Internal command drives persistent action. Persistent action creates external results. Without faith, your subconscious won't accept your desire as real. You'll doubt, you'll second guess, you'll self-sabotage. With faith, you begin to act as if your goal is already real. You move through life with authority and clarity. That shift changes your outcomes dramatically. 3. Faith erases doubt, and doubt is the wealth killer. Most people fail not because of a lack of opportunity, but because of an abundance of doubt. Doubt is subtle. It whispers, "You're not smart enough. You've failed before. Why try again? This is too big for someone like you." The more you entertain those doubts, the more power they gain. Hill was clear: faith and fear cannot exist in the same mind at the same time. One must dominate. Faith is the antidote to doubt, but it must be fed daily through affirmations, visualization, positive associations, daily wins, even small ones, mental discipline. Faith is not passive, it must be trained. And once it becomes your dominant emotional state, it silences fear before fear can speak. 4. Faith turns thoughts into power. Thoughts, by themselves, are just noise, but thoughts backed by faith become commands. Hill wrote, "Faith is the only known antidote for failure." Faith gives your thoughts velocity. It creates a type of emotional magnetism that pulls people, resources, and circumstances to match your inner certainty. That's why the most successful people don't just set goals, they expect results. That expectation is not arrogance, it's trained faith. When you infuse your goals with faith, you're no longer hoping, you're claiming, and that changes your entire psychology. You walk differently. You speak with more certainty. You tolerate less nonsense. You attract higher-level opportunities. Faith doesn't wait, it creates. 5. Faith is the root of self-confidence. Hill devoted an entire chapter to self-confidence, but he saw it as a byproduct of faith. You don't just build confidence by accident. You build it through faithful repetition of empowering beliefs. One of Hill's most powerful exercises was the self-confidence formula from Think and Grow Rich, which includes statements like, "I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. I realize that the dominating thoughts of my mind eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action. I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily on thinking of the person I intend to become." These are not motivational slogans. They are neural reprogramming scripts. When practiced daily, they create neuroassociations that literally change the brain's wiring, improving confidence, decision-making, and risk tolerance, all essential for wealth. 6. Faith enables action without evidence. One of the most misunderstood aspects of wealth is this: the action must come before the evidence. Most people say, "I'll believe it when I see it." But wealth builders live by the opposite principle: "I'll see it when I believe it." Faith allows you to take massive action before the money is there, before the clients show up, before the success becomes visible. It's that internal commitment that commands results. Hill's mentor, Andrew Carnegie, didn't wait for the market to be ready. He acted on his vision and made the market ready. That's the power of action driven by faith. People without faith wait for conditions to be perfect. People with faith create the conditions they need. 7. The mind dominated by faith becomes a creative force. Hill believed that when faith dominates the mind, it becomes a creative force that taps into what he called infinite intelligence, a higher, invisible source of wisdom and ideas. Faith opens channels of creativity. It sharpens intuition. It unlocks problem-solving insights that logic alone cannot access. Some people call this flow, others call it alignment. Hill called it tuning into a higher frequency of thought where ideas, solutions, and abundance already exist. This is why the greatest breakthroughs often come after someone decides with absolute faith that success is already theirs. That decision shifts the energy of their thinking and new answers start appearing. You stop asking, "Can I do this?" and start asking, "How do I make this inevitable?" 8. How to cultivate faith as a daily practice. Faith isn't a one-time decision, it's a habit. And like any habit, it must be cultivated with consistency. Here's how to build faith daily. Morning visualization. Begin each day seeing yourself already in possession of your goal. Add emotion. Affirmations with emotion. Repeat your goal statements out loud while feeling the certainty of having them. Celebrate small wins. Each time something goes right, no matter how small, use it as proof that your faith is working. Surround yourself with believers. Doubt is contagious, so is confidence. Your circle determines your ceiling. Read faith-based literature Hill, Emerson James Allen, and spiritual texts that reinforce possibility and greatness. Act even when scared. Courage builds faith faster than comfort. Do the thing your belief will catch up. Faith isn't the absence of fear, it's acting despite fear, because you believe in the outcome. 9. Case study, Thomas Edison and faith in invention. When Thomas Edison set out to invent the light bulb, he failed over 10,000 times. People laughed, critics ridiculed him, investors pulled out. But Edison had faith not just in the idea, but in himself. He once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's not positive thinking. That's trained faith. Faith that the outcome was inevitable if he just kept going. And he was right. The light bulb was not born from luck. It was born from repeated action fueled by faith. You can do the same with wealth. 10. Faith transcends logic, and that's why it works. Faith often looks irrational to others. That's because most people are ruled by logic, and logic is limited to the present. Faith sees the future as already real. When you move through life with faith, people will call you unrealistic. Let them. Being realistic never built empires, transformed industries, or created financial freedom. Faith will make you invest before the return. Speak like you've already won. Show up like a leader even when you're broke. Solve problems creatively instead of fearfully. Stay calm when others panic. And over time, life will reflect that inner state with external abundance. Faith is not optional. It is the internal command center of wealth. Part 4, autosuggestion. Reprogram your subconscious for riches. If your conscious mind is the captain of the ship, your subconscious mind is the engine room, and the only way to direct that engine towards success, wealth, and abundance is through the power of autosuggestion. According to Napoleon Hill, autosuggestion is the medium through which you can voluntarily influence your subconscious mind. It is the process of feeding your subconscious with intentional thoughts, affirmations, and images until they become your default emotional and behavioral responses. 1. Autosuggestion is not magic, it's mental conditioning. Autosuggestion is often misunderstood. People think of it as wishful thinking or new age fluff. But Hill emphasized that autosuggestion is a scientific process, a deliberate system of mental programming that conditions your mind for success. It's the same way athletes visualize winning a race before the event. It's how elite performers rehearse victory in their minds until the body obeys. And it's how successful entrepreneurs wire their brains to stay focused, confident, and action-driven, even when external evidence says otherwise. Autosuggestion is a daily training ritual for your inner world. It's not passive. It's not random. It's not optional if you want lasting success. 2. The subconscious accepts what's repeated with emotion. Your subconscious mind does not evaluate whether something is true or false. It accepts whatever you consistently feed it, especially if that input is repeated with strong emotion. This means If you constantly say, "I'm broke," with frustration or shame, your subconscious accepts that as truth and creates behaviors to match. If you repeatedly affirm, "Money flows to me easily," while feeling confidence, your subconscious begins to act as if that were true. The key is emotion. Words without emotion are just noise, but words loaded with belief and energy are commands. Hill explained that autosuggestion is most effective when done aloud, daily, and with emotional conviction. You're not just reciting mantras, you're giving your subconscious new operating instructions, and the emotional tone is what makes them stick. 3. Your dominant mental image becomes your reality. The human brain is a goal-seeking mechanism. It operates off internal pictures. Whatever image you consistently hold in your mind, whether of success, wealth, struggle, or failure, your subconscious will move toward making that your reality. This is why visualization is a powerful extension of autosuggestion. When you combine affirming words with vivid mental images, the subconscious reacts more quickly and more powerfully. It's one thing to say, "I am wealthy." It's another thing to see yourself shaking hands at your dream deal, depositing a $500,000, $1,000 check, waking up in your oceanfront home. The more real it feels, the more your subconscious aligns your thoughts, habits, and actions to manifest that image. Your internal movie becomes your external experience. 4. How autosuggestion rewires your self-image. At the core of wealth creation is identity. You will never rise above your self-image for long. If deep down you see yourself as poor, unworthy, or unlucky, you will sabotage every step forward. Autosuggestion works by replacing your default identity with a new one aligned with success. It's not enough to say, "I want to make $1 million. You must become the type of person who expects to make $1 million. That requires shifting your inner self-concept through daily repetition of ideas like, "I am a confident wealth creator. I deserve abundance. I think, act, and decide like a millionaire. I provide massive value and am rewarded richly for it." These ideas, spoken aloud and reinforced with feeling, reshape the internal blueprint of who you are. And when your identity changes, your actions, reactions, and results follow. 5. Hill's instructions for effective autosuggestion. In Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill didn't just talk theory, he gave specific steps for practicing autosuggestion. Here's how he recommended using it. 1. Write a clear, specific goal. Example, "I will earn $500,000 by December 31st through my online business." 2. Describe what you will give in return. In return for this income, I will deliver top-tier digital marketing services to 50 clients. 3. Set a clear deadline. By December 31st of this year, or create a short statement. This combines goal, exchange, and deadline. I will earn $500,000 by December 31st through helping 50 clients with marketing. I believe I will receive this because I am delivering value and serving with passion. But repeat this statement aloud twice daily, morning and night, with full conviction, looking in the mirror, with visualization, with belief. Hill insisted that this was non-negotiable. The subconscious only absorbs what is consistently reinforced. If you skip the repetition, you don't get the result, period. 6. Why most people's autosuggestion backfires. Most people are already using autosuggestion against themselves. They repeat thoughts like, "I'm so unlucky. I'll never get ahead. I'm not good with money. The economy is terrible." And they say it with emotion. They feel the frustration, the fear, the shame, and their subconscious absorbs every word. The result? They create more of what they don't want. Autosuggestion works 247. The question is, are you using it consciously or unconsciously? If you don't give your subconscious clear instructions, it will default to whatever patterns you've been repeating for years, most of which were programmed by society, family, or trauma. Your job is to take back that steering wheel, consciously, relentlessly, daily. 7. How to make autosuggestion stick long-term. It's not enough to practice autosuggestion for a few days and expect miracles. just like you don't build a six-pack in a week. You don't rewire your brain overnight. Hill stressed that autosuggestion becomes powerful when it becomes a lifestyle. Here's how to integrate it. Attach it to habits. Say your affirmations while brushing your teeth, driving, or walking. Use visual triggers. Place sticky notes or index cards with your affirmations on your mirror, fridge, laptop. Record your voice. Listen to your own affirmations on repeat while you sleep or during workouts. Involve all senses. Say it, write it, visualize it, feel it, make it a multi-sensory experience. Don't skip days. Consistency is more important than intensity. Even 3 minutes a day compounds over time. The key is repetition with intensity. Over time, your inner language becomes second nature and your subconscious becomes your most loyal business partner. 8. The neuroscience behind autosuggestion. Modern neuroscience supports what Hill taught nearly a century ago. When you repeat a thought or behavior, neural pathways in the brain strengthen. These pathways form your habits, identity, and emotional patterns. This process is called neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire itself based on experience and repetition. So when you repeat affirmations like, "I am a confident wealth magnet," over and over, you're literally changing the physical structure of your brain. Over time, new default beliefs form. You no longer hesitate to ask for high prices. You start spotting opportunities others miss. You take action faster and more decisively. You recover from failure without spiraling. That's not magic. That's biology plus repetition plus intentional thought. 9. Case study. Jim Carrey's $10 million check. One of the most famous modern examples of autosuggestion in action is Jim Carrey. Before he was famous, he wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, dated it 5 years in the future, and kept it in his wallet every day. He visualized receiving that money. He believed it was inevitable even when he was broke and unknown. Exactly 5 years later, he got a movie deal worth $10 million. Was it magic? No, it was deliberate mental focus, autosuggestion, and aligned action. This process is available to anyone willing to show up every day and train their mind like an elite athlete trains their body. 10. The formula autosuggestion plus faith plus desire or wealth. Hill's formula for wealth isn't complicated, but it requires discipline. Desire gives you a target. Faith gives you belief in the outcome. Autosuggestion gives your subconscious the instructions to achieve it. Used together, these three forces create wealth consciousness, a mental state that attracts the right ideas, people, habits, and decisions necessary to achieve your goals. And once this consciousness becomes habitual, wealth stops being an uphill battle. It becomes your natural way of being. Part 5. Specialized knowledge. How the right information makes you rich. Napoleon Hill made one thing very clear in Think and Grow Rich: knowledge is not power until it is organized and applied. That single distinction separates the wealthy from the struggling. It's not about how much you know, it's about knowing the right thing at the right time, in the right way, and then applying it with precision. In this part, we'll unpack why specialized knowledge, not general education, is the real secret to building unlimited wealth. 1. General knowledge is overrated. Most people confuse education with intelligence. But Hill warned us general education, the kind we receive in traditional schooling, rarely leads to wealth. You can have multiple degrees and still be broke. General knowledge is broad and shallow. It makes you good at trivia, maybe even competent in conversation, but it doesn't equip you to solve specific problems in the marketplace. And wealth is always a byproduct of problem solving. Hill emphasized that wealth builders don't waste time trying to learn everything. They focus on acquiring specialized knowledge, deep expertise in a field that allows them to create value, build leverage, and charge a premium. The richest people on earth didn't succeed by knowing a little about a lot. They mastered something specific. 2. What is specialized knowledge? Specialized knowledge is targeted, actionable, and directly tied to producing results. It can be Knowledge of a specific industry, real estate investing, e-commerce, health coaching, technical skills, coding, copywriting, SEO, trading, customer psychology and persuasion, systems, logistics, or automation. Even deep understanding of human emotion, behavior, or decision-making. It's not about how academic it sounds, it's about how valuable it is to the market. The more rare and results-oriented your knowledge, the more wealth you can attract. 3. Specialized knowledge must be evolving. Hill warned that specialized knowledge must be continually expanded. The world is changing fast. What worked 5 years ago might be obsolete today. So the wealth-minded person doesn't just learn once, they commit to ongoing mastery. This means reading new books in your industry, attending workshops or masterminds, learning from mentors, actively building wealth, constantly testing, optimizing, refining. The mind, like muscles, atrophies if not challenged. Wealth comes to those who remain mentally agile and strategically updated. Or, knowledge isn't power until it's applied. Hill was blunt, applied knowledge is power. Knowing how to do something and actually doing it are worlds apart. People collect online courses like trophies. They binge-watch tutorials. They attend seminars, but they rarely implement. This is mental hoarding, not mental growth. Wealth is not a reward for knowing. It's a reward for executing on that knowledge to solve real problems. At scale. If you know how to build an online store, but never launch it, you have knowledge, not power. If you know how to market, but never promote your services, you're sitting on potential, not profit. Your income will never exceed your implementation. 5. You don't have to know everything. You need a plan to access what you need. One of Hill's most liberating insights is this: you don't have to personally possess all the specialized knowledge necessary to succeed. You just need a way to access it. That means hiring people smarter than you, building a network of experts, or creating a mastermind group, which we'll cover in Part 8. Carnegie, Edison, and Ford weren't the smartest men in the room. They surrounded themselves with the right minds and leveraged their expertise. Wealth is built in teams, not in silos. Your role is to organize, apply, and lead knowledge, not to memorize it. 6. Where to get specialized knowledge. Hill listed multiple sources of specialized knowledge, and they still apply today. Experience and observation. Your own results, what worked, what didn't. Apprenticeship. Working under someone who's already succeeding in the area you want to master. Online education courses, YouTube, podcasts, ebooks, coaching. Books, especially those written by practitioners, not theorists. Mastermind groups, a network of peers exchanging high-level ideas. The key isn't where you get it. The key is how quickly you convert it into usable action. Every day, ask, what specific knowledge do I need right now to take the next step? Then go get it and apply it within 24 hours. 7. You can monetize specialized knowledge in infinite ways. Once you possess specialized knowledge, it becomes an asset you can monetize in multiple ways. Offer it as a service, freelancing, consulting, coaching. Package it into a product, ebook, course, webinar. Build a business around it. Agency, app, subscription. License it, franchises, intellectual property. Use it to improve in other business systems. Team training. You are no longer trading time for money. You're leveraging intellectual capital. And in the age of the internet, your knowledge can scale exponentially. One video, one product, one insight can generate wealth 247 if positioned correctly. If. 8. How to know which knowledge to pursue. The world is full of shiny object syndrome. So how do you know which knowledge to pursue? Ask yourself, what industry do I feel pulled toward? What problems do I enjoy solving? Where is the market growing? What value am I uniquely positioned to deliver? What do people already ask me for advice on? Then commit. Don't dabble in 10 topics. Choose one and go deep. Breadth gets attention, depth gets paid. 9. The role of emotion in acquiring knowledge. Hill noted that passion accelerates retention. If you pursue specialized knowledge out of pressure, you'll likely quit. But if your desire is high, if your emotional connection to your goal is strong, you'll push through the resistance. That's why every part of Napoleon Hill's wealth formula is linked. Desire gives you the why. Faith gives you the belief. Autosuggestion gives you the mental foundation. Specialized knowledge gives you the tools to execute. Without emotional energy, you won't finish the book, attend the training, or implement the insights. Desire fuels learning. Faith sustains it. Application turns it into income. 10. Case study from pizza delivery to seven-figure copywriter. There's a man named Stefan who used to deliver pizzas at 22, making minimum wage. He stumbled onto the idea of copywriting sales writing for businesses. He had zero experience, but he became obsessed with learning how to write words that sell. He read every book he could find, studied winning sales letters, rewrote headlines by hand, and joined mastermind groups. 3 years later, he was writing $1 million per month ads for health companies. His email campaigns brought in tens of millions in revenue. Today, he teaches others that writing sales copy is one of the fastest ways to get rich using specialized knowledge. He didn't go back to college. He didn't get a certification. He just learned a skill that the market pays for and became elite at it. This is the power of specialized knowledge. 11. Specialized knowledge plus purpose equals financial independence. Hill was clear wealth doesn't come to those who know a lot. It comes to those who know something that solves a pain, fills a gap, or delivers a result, and who apply that knowledge with purpose. Purpose gives direction to your learning. It makes every new insight feel like a weapon in your arsenal. When your knowledge is tied to a mission, whether to change lives, elevate your family, or leave a legacy, you'll retain more, apply more, and monetize more. And specialized knowledge without purpose is just trivia. Specialized knowledge with purpose becomes power. Part 6. Imagination wealth is created in the mind first. Napoleon Hill believed that imagination is not just a luxury for artists and dreamers, it is a practical tool for creating wealth. In fact, he declared imagination to be the workshop of the mind, where all plans are created, shaped, and brought to life before they ever manifest in physical reality. Hill's wisdom forces us to ask, if you can't see it in your mind, how can you ever expect to see it in your bank account? 1. The imagination is the genesis of wealth. Every fortune began as an idea. Every empire started with a vision. Every product, business, investment, or strategy was born in someone's imagination before it appeared in the world. Wealth is not created outside of you. It is summoned from within. It originates as a thought, shaped by imagination, then brought into the real world through planning and action. Hill emphasized that the imagination is where we assemble desires, faith, specialized knowledge, and autosuggestion into a mental blueprint that your subconscious can follow. Without imagination, there is no blueprint, and without a blueprint, the subconscious has no instructions. 2. Two forms of imagination, synthetic versus creative. Hill identified two distinct types of imagination. Synthetic imagination. This is the ability to rearrange existing ideas, concepts, or knowledge into new combinations. It's how most successful entrepreneurs innovate. They don't invent entirely new things, they combine and reconfigure existing concepts in unique ways. Example, Uber didn't invent transportation or phones, it combined GPS, mobile apps, and freelance drivers. Creative imagination. This taps into what Hill called infinite intelligence, a higher, intuitive realm beyond conscious logic. It's responsible for flashes of insight, intuition, and breakthroughs that seem to come out of nowhere. Example, Thomas Edison's idea for the light bulb filament wasn't calculated, it was received. Both types are essential. Synthetic imagination helps you build with what you know. Creative imagination helps you receive what you don't yet know. Imagination must be exercised like a muscle. Most people let their imagination wither. As children, we imagine wildly. As adults, we suppress it in favor of logic, realism, and responsibility. But Hill taught that imagination is like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. If you train it, it becomes a powerful force for wealth creation. Daily imaginative thinking rewires your brain. New neural pathways are formed. Your ability to connect unrelated ideas improves. You begin spotting opportunities where others see problems. You attract creative solutions at higher frequency. You start thinking like a visionary, not just a worker. 4. Why the wealthy think in mental pictures. The wealthiest people on earth don't just think in spreadsheets or facts. They think in visuals, metaphors, and possibilities. Elon Musk imagined humans colonizing Mars, then figured out how. Oprah Winfrey imagined herself speaking to millions while growing up in poverty. Jeff Bezos imagined a bookstore that existed on the internet before e-commerce existed. They didn't wait for proof. They created mental pictures so strong, so vivid, so emotionally compelling that reality had no choice but to catch up. When you think in images instead of just words, your subconscious takes action faster. That's how you communicate to your deepest self, not through logic, but through vision. 5. Visualization, the daily practice of wealth builders. Visualization is the process of mentally rehearsing your desired reality. Hill saw it as the act of using imagination intentionally to feed your subconscious with a picture of your future. He recommended visualizing your specific goal daily, doing it first thing in the morning and last thing before sleep. Feeling the emotion of having already achieved it. Seeing yourself living the life, not just reaching the goal. For example, don't just visualize a number in your bank account. Visualize waking up in your dream home. Imagine yourself negotiating a 7-figure deal. Feel the texture of your ideal life, the freedom, pride, security. When visualization becomes habit, your subconscious starts treating it as normal, and your behavior, habits, and decisions follow suit. 6. Imagination solves problems that logic can't. When you're facing a financial wall, overwhelming debt, business failure, income plateau, logic will only take you so far. Imagination is how you transcend limitation. It helps you think around obstacles instead of being blocked by them. Ask what if and why not instead of why me. Visualize a new business model when the old one breaks. Invent creative solutions others can't see. Albert Einstein once said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." He understood what Hill taught. Logic helps you navigate known terrain. Imagination helps you create new landscapes. 7. How to activate and expand your imagination. You don't need to be born a genius. You need to stimulate your imagination daily. Try this. Mindstorming. Write down 20 new ideas each day for your business, income, or investments. Absorbing inspiring inputs. Read biographies. Listen to innovators. Consume world-class thinking. Asking powerful questions. What would this look like if it were easy? What am I not seeing? How would a billionaire solve this? Taking imagination walks, go outside, detach from your devices, and allow your mind to wander. Recording your dreams or intuitive flashes. These often carry insight from your subconscious or creative imagination. Treat your imagination like the most valuable tool in your wealth arsenal because it is. 8. Wealthy people build imaginary systems before real ones. Before any empire is built physically, it is constructed mentally. A real estate mogul doesn't just buy a building, he imagines the transformation, renovation, and resale value long before the deal closes. A startup founder doesn't just build a product, she imagines the market, the customer experience, and the business model in her mind first. An investor doesn't just allocate capital, he imagines the future of a trend and bets on the mental picture. The imagination is not for dreaming, it's for designing. Hill's wealthiest subjects were mental architects. They lived in the future before they arrived there. 9. The role of emotion in wealth imagination. Emotion is what gives your imagination magnetic force. A flat image has no power, but a mental scene filled with joy, power, purpose, and clarity, that image activates the subconscious at full volume. Hill taught that the most effective imagination practices are emotionally charged. You don't just visualize earning money, you feel the confidence of financial security. You don't just imagine success, you experience the pride of creating value and being recognized for it. You don't just picture wealth, you embody what it means to be a person of influence, abundance, and purpose. This emotionalized imagination is what Hill believed bridged thought with manifestation. It creates a vibrational pattern that aligns your inner world with outer results. Entertain case studies Sarah Blakely and the power of playful imagination. Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx and America's youngest self-made female billionaire, credits her success to her ability to think creatively and imagine better solutions. She wasn't a fashion expert. She didn't have business training, but she had a vision in her mind, a product women needed but didn't exist. While others saw barriers, she saw possibility. She used her imagination to design the prototype, picture a product with unique, funny, emotionally engaging language, market directly to women, bypassing traditional channels. Her playful, emotion-driven imagination didn't just create a product, it created a movement. And it made her rich beyond measure. 11. Imagination plus desire plus faith equals wealth blueprint. Let's bring it together. Desire gives you the fire. Faith gives you belief in the outcome. Autosuggestion programs your subconscious with that belief. Specialized knowledge gives you the tools to act. But imagination is the architect. It gives your dream its shape, color, texture, and blueprint. Without imagination, your wealth plan is just a vague idea. With imagination, it becomes a living vision, one that magnetizes attention, resources, people, and action toward it. Part 7. Persistence, the greatest wealth multiplier. Napoleon Hill was adamant about one truth. Persistence is to wealth what oxygen is to life. No matter how smart, connected, or imaginative you are, if you cannot persist, you will not succeed. Persistence is the ability to keep moving forward regardless of obstacles, rejection, fear, fatigue, or failure. It's not glamorous, but it's the unseen multiplier behind every financial breakthrough. In this part, we explore why persistence is the ultimate success force and how you can train it like a muscle. 1. Most people quit at 40% effort. Studies in psychology and Navy SEAL training show a common truth: most people quit when they're only 40% of the way to their capacity. Not because they can't go further, but because they've never trained their will. Hill argued that riches don't go to the fastest, the brightest, or the boldest, they go to the most relentless. He wrote, "Those who have cultivated the habit of persistence seem to enjoy insurance against failure. No matter how many times they are defeated, they finally arrive up top and the world says, 'I knew you could do it.'" The truth is, the world bets against you until you win. Persistence is what keeps you in the game long enough to prove them wrong. 2. Why people quit too soon. People don't fail because of a lack of talent. They fail because of impatience, expecting results too quickly. Fear of rejection, letting no feel like never. Lack of clarity, chasing vague goals with no emotional charge. Peer pressure, quitting because others around them don't understand the vision. Mental fatigue, being untrained in how to keep going when the feelings fade. Hill made it clear desire fuels persistence. If your desire isn't strong enough, your willpower will break under pressure. That's why Part 2 and Part 3, desire and faith, are prerequisites for real persistence. You won't keep going unless you care deeply. You won't care deeply unless you believe it's possible. 3. Persistence is a habit, not a trait. Many people mistakenly believe that persistence is something you are born with. It's not. Hill stressed that persistence is a habit, something you develop over time, one decision at a time. Every time you show up when it's easier to quit, you reinforce that habit. Persistence looks like sending 10 more emails after no replies, rebuilding your business after a setback, staying in the gym when you want to go home, rewriting the pitch that got rejected, waking up to visualize your goal after a bad day. Each action is a deposit into your mental toughness account. Eventually, it compounds. Or how to build unshakable persistence. Hill outlined 4 essential steps to developing the habit of persistence. 1. A definite purpose backed by burning desire. You must know what you want and want it badly. This is your emotional engine. 2. A definite plan, expressed in continuous action. Not a perfect plan, a plan you actually execute. Action builds momentum. 3. A mind closed tightly against all negativity. Block out opinions, doubt, and logical reasons to quit. Protect your mental space. 4. A friendly alliance with one or more persons. A support system or mastermind group to keep you accountable and inspired. Together, these 4 steps create a psychological environment that breeds persistence even when everything around you says quit. 5. Temporary defeat versus permanent failure. One of Hill's most famous distinctions is this: temporary defeat is not failure. Failure only becomes permanent when you quit. Most people confuse the two. They hit a wall, lose money, face criticism, and call it failure. But Hill's most successful subjects saw temporary defeat as feedback, not finality; redirection, not rejection; resistance training for the next level. Think about it. Edison failed 10,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Henry Ford went bankrupt twice before creating the Model T. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination by a newspaper editor. They didn't stop because they failed. They succeeded because they didn't stop. 6. Why persistence attracts opportunity. Persistence is magnetic. When you persist, you signal to the universe and to people that you are serious, that you're not dabbling, that you're a person of conviction. This creates 3 important effects. 1. It attracts mentors and partners. People are drawn to those who refuse to quit. Investors, mentors, and collaborators feel safe betting on someone who's clearly all in. 2. It makes you luckier. The longer you stay in motion, the more opportunities you bump into. Many of Hill's case studies got lucky on the 5th or 10th or 100th try. Luck didn't find them, they earned it by staying in the game. 3. It increases resourcefulness. The brain gets creative when you don't give it an out, when quitting is not an option. Your mind finds hidden solutions, connections, and energy reserves. Persistence literally changes the brain. It triggers mental adaptation, forcing new pathways of strategy and resilience. 7. The myth of overnight success. Hill was ahead of his time in debunking the overnight success illusion. Most people who look like overnight millionaires have been working for years in silence. He warned, be wary of those who appear to achieve riches quickly. It often masks the years of unseen effort, and it deceives those who want quick rewards. Persistence means you play the long game. You ignore short-term applause. You focus on internal progress, not external approval. Those who persist long enough often experience what looks like a sudden explosion of success, but in truth, it was years in the making. 8. Building a no-matter-what mindset. Hill admired individuals who had what he called a no-matter-what mindset. These are the people who show up whether they feel like it or not, refuse to negotiate with doubt, are committed, not just interested. How do you cultivate that mindset? Make your goal non-negotiable. Don't say, I'll try. Say, I must. Write down your why and review it daily. Purpose sustains effort. Track your progress. Momentum builds motivation. Celebrate wins. Small victories reinforce the path. Eliminate Plan B. Commitment dies when you give yourself an out. Persistence isn't about brute force. It's about emotional commitment. 9. Case study, Colonel Sanders and the power of relentless action. At age 65, Harlan Sanders had just 100 to his name and a fried chicken recipe. He went door to door, restaurant to restaurant, trying to license his recipe. He was rejected over 1,000 times. Most people would quit after 10 rejections, maybe 100, but 1,000, not Sanders, he kept going. Eventually, someone said yes. That yes turned into a small franchise, then another, then another. Today, KFC is a multi-billion-dollar brand in over 140 countries. Sanders' wealth didn't come from talent, looks, or youth. It came from persistence in the face of humiliation, age, and defeat. 10. Persistence plus planning plus belief is financial breakthrough. Let's lock this in. Desire lights the fire. Faith keeps you believing. Autosuggestion feeds your subconscious with certainty. Imagination builds the blueprint. Specialized knowledge gives you the tools. But persistence is the glue. It's what holds the entire system together when life punches you in the mouth. If you master persistence, you win. If you don't, nothing else matters. Part 8, the mastermind and infinite intelligence. Tap into a higher wealth frequency. Napoleon Hill ended his philosophy of wealth creation with one of the most mystical, yet practical concepts in Think and Grow Rich, the mastermind and infinite intelligence. This final piece isn't just about tactics, it's about tuning into something beyond yourself. It's about accessing higher levels of thought, energy, and collaboration that elevate you from personal hustle to divine alignment. When used correctly, the mastermind principle and infinite intelligence allow you to multiply results, expand your awareness, and attract opportunities that your logical mind alone could never create. My name is Mason. What is the mastermind? Hill defined a mastermind as the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. That's not just teamwork. It's not just brainstorming. It's a synergistic alignment, a merging of minds that creates a third mind, a new intelligence greater than the sum of its parts. This third mind has more ideas, more clarity, more confidence, more solutions, more energetic charge. The mastermind is a wealth amplifier. 2. Why you cannot build great wealth alone. The self-made millionaire is a myth. Every wealthy individual had help. Henry Ford had Edison, Firestone, and others. Andrew Carnegie had a network of financial and political allies. Oprah Winfrey had a mastermind of media mentors, producers, and spiritual guides. Hill realized that no one climbs the wealth mountain alone, and if they try, they burn out or plateau. You need fresh perspective when you're stuck, emotional support when you're discouraged, high-level feedback when your vision expands, accountability when motivation fades. The right mastermind will pull you up to their level or push you beyond what you thought was possible. 3. The psychological power of group energy. Hill believed that when multiple minds are united in harmony toward a shared goal, they generate a collective vibration that enhances each member's thinking. This creates more boldness, faster decision-making, sharper intuition, deeper belief, greater emotional momentum. You literally think at a higher frequency when connected to aligned minds. This isn't woo-woo, it's mirror neurons, emotional entrainment, and energetic synergy. You rise to the level of your associations always. How to form your own mastermind. You don't need to be rich or famous to build a mastermind. You need 3 things. 1, a clear purpose. Every member should be working toward a goal, preferably in a similar field or with aligned values. 2, consistency. Weekly or bi-weekly meetings, virtual or in person. No casual drop-ins. Commitment is key. 3, mutual contribution. It's not a coaching session. Everyone brings value. Everyone holds space. Everyone challenges and uplifts. Ideal mastermind partners are growth-minded, humble but confident, honest, action-oriented, energizing to be around. As Hill said, no 2 minds ever come together without thereby creating a third, invisible, intangible force which may be likened to a third mind. That third mind is the wealth engine. 5. Infinite intelligence, the mysterious source of ideas. Beyond the mastermind, Hill introduced a spiritual concept, infinite intelligence, an all-knowing, ever-present source of insight, creativity, and guidance that you can access through your subconscious mind. Hill believed infinite intelligence sends flashes of intuition, answers specific questions when asked sincerely, guides your path when logic fails, connects you to the right people, ideas, and resources. He didn't pretend to fully understand it, but he trusted it deeply. Infinite intelligence, according to Hill, responds best when your desire is clear, your faith is unshakable, your mind is free of negativity, your motive is aligned with service and growth. This intelligence is tuned into through stillness, silence, and surrender. 6. How to connect to infinite intelligence. You don't need to be religious or spiritual to access this force. You need to be receptive. Here are Hill-inspired practices to connect with infinite intelligence. Silent contemplation. Sit quietly with a question. Don't force an answer. Listen. Dream analysis. Hill and others received insights through dreams. Keep a dream journal. Walking in nature. Disconnect from screens. Let your mind enter an open, receptive state. Meditative journaling. Ask questions like, what am I missing? Or what would the highest version of me do? Prayer or intention. Hill often used focused prayer, not religious, but intentional communication. Infinite intelligence doesn't scream, it whispers. You must slow down to hear it. 7. Real wealth requires connection to higher thought. Hill believed that to build sustainable, meaningful, and spiritually aligned wealth, you must operate from a higher level of consciousness. This means you create value, not just chase dollars. You serve, not just sell. You grow, not just grind. You receive with gratitude, not greed. Connection to infinite intelligence keeps your motives pure, your strategies inspired, and your soul aligned. It's how you avoid becoming rich but empty. It's how you stay centered while growing rapidly. It's how you tap into genius, not just hustle. 8. Examples of infinite intelligence in action. Edison claimed that many of his inventions came through mental flashes after silent thought. Steve Jobs was known to walk barefoot in nature when facing major product decisions. He often said, intuition is more powerful than intellect. Hill himself said the idea for Think and Grow Rich came after a long period of doubt, stillness, and surrender. They weren't guessing. They were listening. They were tuned into something greater than logic. And that connection made them wealthy in both dollars and destiny. The mastermind plus infinite intelligence equals wealth flow state. When you combine a high-level mastermind, a connection to infinite intelligence, strong desire, faith, and imagination, you enter a flow state of wealth building. You're no longer forcing success, you're receiving it. You become a conduit, not just a creator. You move from effort to alignment, from strain to magnetism, from transaction to transformation. This is what Hill meant by thinking and growing rich, not just hustling and earning money. 10. Final integration of the formula. Let's recap the full sequence. 1. Desire, a burning, non-negotiable goal. 2. Faith, absolute belief in the outcome. 3. Autosuggestion, reprogramming your subconscious with intention. 4. Specialized knowledge, tools and skills to act. 5. Imagination, the mental blueprint. 6. Persistence, the emotional discipline to endure. 7. The mastermind, the energy of collaborative acceleration. 8. Infinite intelligence, the invisible hand guiding your purpose. When all 8 are active, you become wealth consciousness in motion. Not hoping, not faking, not waiting, becoming. Now that you have unlocked the formula, it's not just about knowing, it's about doing. Desire, faith, autosuggestion, specialized knowledge, imagination, persistence, the mastermind, infinite intelligence. These are not theories. They are tools. Use them daily. Speak them, feel them, live them. Because wealth isn't something you chase, it's something you align with. Subscribe for more videos that train your mind for success. And remember, you are not just here to survive. You were born to create, impact, and grow rich in every sense of the word.